Brighton's bargain business continues to prevail. Maxim De Cuyper joins the Seagulls from Club Brugge for a fee barking up the 20 million mark. The 24-year-old Belgium international has been previously linked with the likes of Juventus, Bournemouth, Roma, Arsenal, Liverpool, but the south coast and east of Sussex will be where his talents will be on showcase. Maxim De Cuyper is a highly rated, high-flying fullback who's now made 10 appearances for his national team and now 32 appearances across all 3 European competitions, 12 of them being in the Champions League. The 6-foot fullback is seriously versatile, being able to operate on either side of the flanks. The Belgian's best strengths around his contribution towards the final third. He is an excellent crosser, and I mean excellence. His excellence within this can be found with fine accuracy and perfect weight. He can be an intense striker of the ball at times, all very calm and laid back, varying from out wide in wider spaces, from deep more narrowly, from set pieces, absolutely wherever, making him a superb creator for his team, as shown by his huge underperformance in assists last season. Nearly 7 assists less than his XA demonstrates. But he's truly an attacker's dream. His reason for range within his creative execution comes from, of course, his ball striking ability, which translates to goals too, from far outside the box to joining the box himself, but overall his comfortability on the ball and his two-footedness. De Cuyper is most effective within the creative phase, of course, but the man can pick up the ball absolutely anywhere with ease. He can hold width comfortably and attack from there, he can attack the back post, he can drop in more narrowly into the midfield, he can make inside underlapping runs and runs into the box. His play varies brilliantly, making rotations and connecting play to the next phase that much easier, especially when you remind yourself that he can use either foot, manipulating the angle however the scenario sees fit. This makes his attacks on the inside super effective and urgent for the opposition defenders to deal with. An example of this was his goal at home versus Aston Villa last season. This is an attacking fullback that's two-footed, can shoot, can create, can cross, can dribble past you with retention of the ball and shares a cool head in the final third, as seen for Belgium when Jeremy Doku assisted him. And if you take him down inside the box, then guess what? He can take penalties too, with 9 out of 10 penalties scored within his career so far. When we look at the numbers to the 24-year-old's game, of course it's important to understand the Belgium top division is lower quality than the Premier League and the Champions League, of course, but we can gather who he is from this. As we know, he's creative, he likes to cross, he's got admirable range to his passing, but we can also gather he's tremendously forward within his actions, presenting a fair share of class when it comes to passing and carrying the ball. He's very comfortable when the ball went deep and when the ball is moving slow. I see him as a real connector from defence to attack with his obvious expertise with both feet. I can't stress that enough. However, it's important we discuss defensively, as after all, he is a defender. De Cuyper is shown to be a very proactive presser of the ball, with good awareness and quality work rates. He's always onto his man tracking, and when engaging in duels, he can come out on top, and when he does, it leads to a very quick, tricky turnover, transitioning into attack almost instantly. But this is where we strike a weakness. Because the Belgian is always very far forwards, you'll often see him chasing back quite a few yards for Club Brugge, but his shakiness and inconsistency sits within duels and 1v1 defending. When his opponent stamps some physicality into the game, he appears very naive at times, despite looking sharp in his body language. In 1v1s, he often stands off from his opponent, staying very keen, on his toes, focused on his man, but will often get beat in this department. If he's not engaged within a tackle, then his winger likely breezes by him by cutting inside without too much difficulty. If he's committed to a tackle, his timing is pretty off. He's not terrible within this phase, just very inconsistent. So if this was something to identify for lower quality teams and lower quality wingers in a lower quality league, then I imagine this may become apparent in the Premier League. So how is it do we tackle this weakness? Let's see. Well, in order to maximise the very most out of your new signing in Maxim De Cuyper and the signings you've made and the squad you've got, I think a 3 at the back system would work best. It certainly makes sense with the amount of signings that Fabian Hürzeler has been making, and when you look at his managerial career so far, we have seen him use this at St. Pauli. He did use 2 strikers there, but I can see him using a 3-4-2-1 in order to maximise the very most out of his wide players, the fluidity, the centre backs and stability in transition. Now I can see Fabian Hürzeler trying this with a 4 at the back shape, as he is quite an ambitious personality type when it comes down to tactics and how he sets his players up, but I think this would offer the most protection to some of those players. I mean, Yakubu Minter is immensely hard working and fast, but to have Van Heck cover for him would be brilliant. And when you look at De Cuyper amongst this side when he's pushing up, he's got Carlos Baleba covering for him, a man with serious energy and one of the most brilliant ball winners in Europe at the moment. That is very comforting for him. At Club Brugge, I don't think he really received much cover for him. So that left his flank very exposed. He's got a back 3 as well that can push wide and can win duels. But when you look at Brighton when they push up with Minter in that sort of 3-2-5 shape, there is so much to like about this team. I mean, you've got so much balance. You've got a back 3 who are very aggressive, very duel dominant, pretty quick and can play on the ball just fine. You've got a midfield that are very dual dominant but very, very energetic. You've got Diego Gomez who can play here, Matt Pfeiffer, Matt O'Reilly. There's plenty of depth as well. And when you look at the front 5, what is there not to like? If we focus on this side a little bit with De Cuyper, there are so many benefits with him combining with Mitoma and pushing wide as a fullback. As a wingback, sorry. De Cuyper can push as high as he wants with protection, but a lot of people will look at Mitoma so narrow and think, doesn't this limit a brilliant side to his game, which is his attacking in wide spaces, him taking on 1v1 players, and I really don't think this is going to be limited as much as people think. Mitoma can still push out wide because the rotational play with De Cuyper will be brilliant and very fluid. De Cuyper's 2-footed, so he can attack the byline and make runs in wide spaces, or he can push inside, make those inside underlapping runs to allow Mitoma to be in his very best positions. This fluidity, this link-up play, I think is going to be really, really promising for Brighton. It brings a huge threat for Brighton in those wider spaces, but allows them to attack the box very efficiently as well. In the Premier League, you're going to come up against teams that are very, very good defensively. That's a fact. You're not always going to get the space you want. So De Cuyper for me is another tool in breaking down low blocks, in breaking down those tough defences. And in some games, Brighton are going to share lots and lots of the ball. And when they do, I think this 3-2-5 shape that Brighton will create looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, if we push everybody up for a sec, you know, these players dropping in as well, and we push the back line up, there is so much balance here. I mean, there's so much stability in transition where you can really eliminate any threat within the counter press. There is so much to like. The back 3, as I say, very dual dominant, very comfortable on the ball. My only worry with this Brighton team is Verbruggen's form this season. Verbruggen last season was very inconsistent. He had a lot of shaky moments. Don't get me wrong, he's a very, very promising ball-playing goalkeeper that I do genuinely like for his ability on the ball, but the problem with that is that he's a little bit inconsistent. But of course, he's young and he can't change that. When Brighton move forward, they can really crash the box with sheer numbers. I do think you could have another striker with Danny Welbeck, but if you look at this when they're pushing up, pretend there's an opposition there, I can picture the opposition being really, really pinned in by the sheer energy and physicality of this team. Now, when we move on to out of possession within this team, I think there is a lot to like again. I mean, you have got a very tricky 5-4-1/5-2-3 shape. When they're pressing maybe more man-to-man, you've got a shape that looks a little bit like this. There's a lot of energy here, and when you're pressing man-to-man, of course, the players are going to be much higher. I think each and every player can leave their designated role to press very high with a fair bit of protection behind them. But once they're sitting in a little bit more of a compact shape, then I think it's going to look like a very tricky 5-4-1 shape, very similar to Crystal Palace to say the least. I mean, there's so much energy here. If you try and run through here, Hinshelwood or Baleba is probably going to tackle you. There's a lot of pace and speed within wide areas, and De Cuyper's biggest weakness in terms of his 1v1 defending will be covered by Baleba and this man here. This for me is the very best way to target Brighton's finest strengths and to protect and filter out their finest weaknesses. If you enjoyed today's video, then make sure to smash a like and subscribe to the channel. With all these signings, where do you think Brighton and Fabian Hürzeler will finish next season? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.